Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. Today we're talking to entrepreneur, businesswoman, yoga teacher, just wearer of many hats, the lovely Tracy Strash. So we're going to talk about her journey, how she's gotten to where she's at, some of the exciting new ventures that she's getting into, the businesses she's opening, the business she's acquiring, and a lot of her training path. So. Uh, Love the conversation as always. Great friend, great times. Tracy is all about cultivating community and continuing that path. So we're going to talk a lot about a lot of things. So hope you get something out of the conversation. We'll see you on the other side. All right, welcome back to our podcast. Today, sitting across from me is a lovely friend of mine and just business entrepreneur, always hustling, finding that next thing. She's doing retreats. She's working as a yoga teacher. She has her was a paralegal, like all these things that Tracy encompasses. The lovely Tracy Strash sitting across from me today.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you on. Today we were talking downstairs a little bit. One of the things I'd love to talk to you today, because of your background and where you're at, is the business of yoga. You know, there's a lot of our trainings that we do teach us to hold space, teach us to guide practices, the flows, the transitions, the safety, all that stuff. And maybe some of us get a little modicum of a business side of yoga, but a lot of us don't. And something that I get a lot of questions of is just the business side of yoga, right? And so when we were sitting down to talk today, I thought that would be a really cool like avenue to just at least jump off from after we talk about where you've been, how you've gotten to where you're at, but just kind of fluctuate through that business side.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So we've known each other for a few years now and met through teaching and taking and love your classes. You're Baptiste trained, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So how'd you get into yoga? Where's your path taking you?
So, yoga for me came a little bit later in life. I
Okay.
found it in my late 30s. And it was just simply a group of moms that decided while our kids were in school to go take a hot yoga class.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And we actually started at Woodinville Hot Yoga.
Oh, before it turned to Root to Rise, huh?
No, it was the one over by the Taco Bell. It's like Sandy Smith
Yes.
owned it.
Definitely.
And so we were taking Bikram classes there,
Okay.
and I right away was like, I love this. I love the heat. I love everything about it. But I didn't love necessarily the rigidness of the Bikram.
That style of practice.
Yeah, the style. And so one day she brought in like a vinyasa teacher and did like this hour power at noon, and I was like, what is this? This
Yeah.
is so much fun. So I did that for a little while, and then as with things, just went back to being more mom and working, and got out of the yoga and realized there was something missing. And one night I was having dinner at Bonefish
Okay.
in Canyon Park, and I looked over and there was a new yoga studio opening, Fusion Hot Yoga. And I was like, I should check that out. So I started at Fusion when they opened,
Oh,
and
wow.
have
Okay.
been there ever since. And I was a student for about 5 years. I went to a training, not a training, but a workshop with Carrie Hopperstad.
Love Carrie.
She would
Had
do
her on last week.
her goal setting workshop.
Okay.
And I went to that, and I already loved Carrie and I loved her classes. And so I was like, okay, I'll do this workshop and set some goals for the next year. And she walked us through it. And by the end of it, I was like, I want to be a yoga teacher. And I went
Hell yeah.
home that day and signed up for my first Baptiste training.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Did you, was Baptiste calling to you because of Carrie's path and you learned, okay, cool, Carrie did that and that's the style that I'm digging, so.
I think that at that time, a lot of the teachers at Fusion were Baptiste trained, the vinyasa teachers.
Okay.
So I just kind of, I think I didn't do a lot of research of other types of training.
Yeah.
It was just the one that I liked. So I
One that
decided
landed.
this is what I want to do.
There you go.
And I'd gotten really good feedback about it. I loved all their classes.
Yeah.
So there were several teachers, a lot that had been Baptiste trained. So decided to do that and went off to my first yoga teacher training. So it was June of 2015 to
Okay.
Sedona, Arizona.
Oh, beautiful spot.
So beautiful. The Mago Retreat Center there. And, I kept doing that. Well, we'll see if I want to teach, but if anything, it will just, enhance my practice.
Right. Yeah,
A lot
totally.
of people go to training with that in mind, which is great. And so I got there and I was kind of like a blank slate. I didn't know a lot about any of it and just really wanted to see where it was going to take me. So I loved the immersion. I loved being gone for a week and completely disconnected from my daily life
Yeah.
and being able to really be involved in it. And it was a lot. It was physically and mentally and probably a little bit emotionally a lot,
Right.
but it was good. And so went through that training, came home and decided if I don't start teaching right now, I'm never going to teach because I know my personality. I would move
Yeah.
on to something else. So funny thing was my husband at the time was living in North Dakota.
Okay.
That's where he worked and he lived, and he had gone there in 2012. And so I went to visit him, and I went to take a class at the local civic center.
Okay.
That's all they really have is this civic community center thing.
Yeah.
And the teacher didn't show up.
Oh.
And so I told the class, well, I just got out of teacher training.
Yeah.
Do you want me to lead the class? They're like, yeah. So that was my first
No shit.
class. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Baptism by fire.
Just went
Get
right
in there and do it.
Yep. It was, and it was interesting. It was, me probably just more doing the class with them than teaching them the class.
Okay. All right.
I was like, I was facing the same direction as them,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doing all of the poses with them. So, but I felt good. I was like, I did it. It's not so scary. I did it.
Did you get good feedback from the class afterwards?
I did. They were like, oh, we like your style.
Awesome.
Just whatever. I don't remember exactly the comments, but I remember it being positive. And so then I came back for another class and the teacher came that time.
Okay.
And so I told her that I had taught her class.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't show up. And she's like, oh, well, if you want more experience, how long are you here? She's like, you can teach all my classes. It was really different, really strange,
all right.
but I was like, okay. So they signed me up and I think they paid me $8 a class.
Okay. All right.
That was their going rate.
That's
at
a going
the
rate.
time.
Civic Center for yoga. Okay. Got it.
Exactly. And it was a drive for me. It's like 30 miles from where our house was. So
Okay.
that was the closest place to go to yoga. So I would have to pack up and head in and make it this, big thing.
Yeah, it was a commitment.
Yeah. And it was good. And so then I did that for about a month and then came home and decided, okay, where can I start that I feel like I can find my voice, find my teaching style. So I went to the local health clubs
Okay.
and I started teaching for 24 Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, Gold's Gym. And that's where I really started to get my feet wet
Nice.
in the teaching spectrum. And then I decided to go to level 2.
Okay.
So now we fast forward to not too much further. It was 2016, so the next year.
Okay.
And I went back to Sedona and did my level 2 training. So level 1 was with Baron Baptiste. Level 2 is with Paige Ellison, who's
Okay.
with Africa Yoga Project. And
Oh, okay.
so
I just recently realized those are tied together. I didn't know they were tied together. That's cool.
they're not necessarily I'm not sure if Baron has any ownership interest or anything like that in Africa Yoga Project,
Okay.
but I know he supported Paige probably to get started with it.
Cool.
So, but she definitely works for the Baptiste Foundation as far as teaching.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if she is anymore, but she was back then.
Yeah.
So, so I went for my level 2 and level 1 was more about finding yourself and digging into who you are and what you want to do and why you want to be there and all about that part of teaching.
Right.
And then level 2 is about connection with community and how to connect. And so I needed that part of it for sure.
Yeah.
What I got out of the experience, through my trainings, and I know that it changed me as a person in a positive way. And it helped me find myself that had been missing for a while.
Nice.
And so I was able to take that with me into wherever I wanted to go and the direction that I wanted to go. And I have very strong analytical side. I have a very strong, more of the what do we want to call it? The artistry side of things, where I was a dancer for many, many years. So
Yeah.
I really love to create movement in dance. I love music. And so it was like a coming home in a way when I came back, and not back because I hadn't been in yoga, but when I found yoga.
Right.
And especially being able to connect it with the music and the movement and all of that. It's just something that feels very natural to me,
Yeah.
and I feel very authentic, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it immensely. So
Definitely. Well, it's almost like a self-actualization moment, right? When you find all your skills that you've acquired over the years to coalesce into this beautiful thing that helps you realize a gift that you have, right? So all that artistry, all that knowledge that you like to gain, all that everything, that leader that you are now coalesces into this amazing yoga teacher, right? So that's that self-actualization moment. We continue to have those throughout our lives, but that was a beautiful one for you.
it's pretty amazing. It's something that I could never have predicted or seen out on the radar in any way, shape, or form.
Right, right.
I was so in the other direction in my
Yeah.
life at the time, and so really thankful for Carrie and her workshop, and all of the experiences and the relationships that I had made at Fusion to be able to encourage me to go to teacher training,
Yeah.
down to even Jason and Cece, the owners, were awesome about supporting anybody who was interested in that kind of thing. So,
Beautiful.
and I had a conversation with Jason about, before I went to my first training, about how, I grew up in Bothell, how I love the community, and I would love to someday teach there. But it was very intimidating when I came back to make that step forward,
Yeah.
to actually teach at the studio that I've been taking at for so many years. To be
Yeah.
on the other side,
Oh, I can imagine.
I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I want to do it. So I practiced there for a long time before I ever taught there.
Yeah.
I didn't start teaching there until, I want to say 2017.
Okay.
And it was on a very part-time basis of just subbing classes here and there. I used to also assist Brian's classes. So I would go around and assist the
That's
people
right. I
in the
forgot they
room.
did that over there. That's cool.
And that was a trip because his classes just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Bigger and bigger.
And
Good Lord.
at one point, I swear, well, I know for a fact we had 60 or 70 people in this class. And it was my goal to get to every person in that 60 minutes that they would
Good for
get
you.
some form of assist, from the littlest, tiniest to maybe I spend, a little bit longer with somebody. And, yeah, and then it just got to be a little too dangerous because I couldn't really
Yeah.
move through the people. I got
Arms
kicked a
moving,
couple
flip,
times. I
right.
knocked somebody over one time. It was like, okay.
I went to.
Stop doing this.
I think I went to one fusion class with Brian, and there were so many people in that class. People were facing different directions.
Yeah.
Like there were people vertical and horizontal in the back. Just like anywhere you can put a mat, there was just Tetris pieces in there. I'm like, how is this? All right, we're doing some yoga. Let's do
We
it.
call it the fourth row that doesn't really exist.
Right.
And so take the podium out, fill up that front row, then you have the middle row, then you have the back row. That's not really the back row anymore because then you turn the people this way and then they go in that last row. Yeah. And I've practiced in that before. I've practiced where literally the mats are just touching. There's no
Yeah.
room.
Yep.
There's no room for anything. And you're just like, I'm going to get sweat on
There
you
we
from
go.
other people and
Yep.
I'm going to have to be okay with it.
Yep. You also have to synchronize with the person in front of you because if you go into a three-legged dog and the person behind you's not there yet, they're getting kicked in the face.
Yes.
Right. So you got to synchronize with around what's going
You
on.
have to be aware of what's going on. I always seem to manage to go in between two guys for some reason. I was like, oh my God, there's so much going on in this space because I'm already a taller, bigger person. And then to be next to two taller, bigger people, I was like, oh my God, this is interesting.
Yep.
But then, being a teacher who's assisting people, I got really used to touching sweaty people and I didn't have any issue with
Yeah.
that whatsoever
Good.
after a while. So I know some people use towels or I was just like, yeah.
Nah,
whatever.
when we could still adjust people, I'm getting in there with them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. Sweat on me. I'm holding you. We're doing things. It's all good.
Can't wait to get back to it. I actually miss that component. And there's been times where I'm just staring at somebody and the assist is going through my mind and I went so badly just to go over and I'm like, no, you can't do it yet. Can't do it. So.
Yep. I was teaching at a studio in Monroe the other day, and there was a woman in my class who I'm very familiar with. She's always in my classes. She's fantastic. I know exactly what she's working on, and she was going up into a forearm stand. We had a little playtime, and I just walked by her, and she kicked up, and she was starting to fall out, and I just instinctually grabbed her ankle, and I'm like, oh shit. I shouldn't be touching you right now. She's like, but don't let go. I'm like, all right, shit. Yeah, it's just so innate,
Even
it's
today
just
in class, there was a student. She was trying to do the headstand, and she was so close. And I just wanted. She was literally right next to me. I just wanted to take one step and just give her that assist. And I was like, "Good job,
Right.
clap from afar. Good job, good try." I'm like, "Dang it!"
I had a student one time come in. I think it was right when we started reopening. And, everybody's wearing masks and, we're still trying to figure out person classes. And she brought in one of those mechanical grabby arms you can get like at a fair.
Oh,
And she hands it to me and she goes, "Can you adjust me with this?"
that's not weird or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Oh
People
man,
are
I
funny.
wish I could. Okay, so with your Baptiste training, did you went through level 2? Did you go to level 3?
I did.
Okay, and then
2018, December 2018.
okay,
In between, I did like they call it at the time art of assisting, and that was
okay,
so level 1 and level 2 and art of assisting are what's required to have your 200-hour through Yoga Alliance if you want to sign
gotcha.
up with them through Baptiste.
So
So
is that
that's
100-hour each for each training, more or less? Like level one's 100, level two's
pretty
100,
pretty close
more
to
or
that.
less.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, and then you add in the art of assisting. It's a weekend training, and that's what
gotcha. That's what puts
makes
you
it
on there.
complete.
Okay,
So I had done that in March of 2017. That was really fun. I went to a Baptiste affiliated studio in San Francisco.
oh cool.
Sean Silva and his wife own it, and they're amazing people, and that was really fun. That was led by a Baptiste trainer called Leandra is her name. I
Okay.
can't pronounce her last name properly, so I'm not going to try. Um, and she was really great. And then when I went to level 3, that I went to the location in California for that one. So
Yeah.
a little bit different scenery, but and so then you have level 1 where you're finding yourself. Level 2, you're finding that connection. So then level 3 for me was about taking it to the next level
Okay.
as a leader, who I wanted to be. It made me think more about like if I ever would maybe want to own a studio, just where I wanted to be in the yoga community and how I wanted to be perceived and how I was going to be able to also contribute
Cool.
on whatever level that's going to be.
Right.
So, and I've met some amazing people through those experiences as well. And for me, I found that what's important to me is community and connection. And so
Totally.
I definitely found that.
Hell yeah.
So there's no regrets.
Good, 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 good. Cool. Well, okay. So then you got your training, and so what? So yeah, then what happened with that? Actually, you know what? I do want to switch gears real quick.
Sure.
Because you're one of the few people that I know that have taught a lot of different styles, and not styles as far as like Baptiste or Bikram or whatever, but styles as far as like, so you've done corporate based yoga, you've done gym yoga, you've done yoga studio yoga, individual. So they're all very, very different the way you approach those.
They are.
And so can you kind of speak to that? Because it seemed like you started with gym yoga after you got your certification. So how did that kind of land with you after going to this big training? And then, because with gym yoga, what I found is that you get a lot of people that are very, very new to yoga. It's there because it's offered in the gym membership. So that's not really, it's more of like I'm going to try this out and see what happens kind of thing. So, could you kind of talk about some of your experiences with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like being a yoga teacher in a group fitness environment where all the other classes are more like a group fitness type of class.
Right.
And then you come in and you're the yoga teacher. You're the mind body, I think is what they call it.
Okay.
And there's so many different kinds of teachers, yoga or not.
Right.
Like there's many, many different kinds. And for me, it was a place for me to find my style, find my voice. And I didn't feel as intimidated as going to like a studio where people maybe have an expectation of what a teacher should or shouldn't be because, they're paying this big membership to be there
Right,
and there's
yeah.
all these different teachers and there's this whole vibe around that. So I'm like, I'll try this avenue. So this is what I found. I found that there's almost every class there's a new person that's
Okay.
never done yoga before.
Yeah.
And then you have the people that they come to your class and they start to like your classes. So they become your weekly people that come every week. And so
Okay.
they get to know your style. So you have like the one end of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah.
And so I always teach to the new people.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And I'm still teaching. Currently, I'm still teaching a class at 24 hours. So I'm still having this
Oh,
same
right on.
experience. Yeah. So I always teach to the new people, but I let the other people know that they have their options and I'll tell them what the options are, but I might not show the options because like I don't very often teach wheel in the gym setting.
okay.
A tremendous back bend for somebody who's never done yoga. It's their first time.
Good for
and
you.
Have them like try to go up and land on their head or something. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to have that happen.
Very precarious. Yeah.
So there's certain things that I just don't necessarily offer, but I know that these other yogis can do that. So then I'll say, and if here you'd like to to take a wheel, then take a wheel, and those people will do that type of thing. So I teach to the beginner, and there's something about it for me. There's something that lights me up to know that I can show this to this person for the first time, and I really want it to be a really great experience. Like it like super motivates me to like make sure that they feel seen, and that I'm connecting with them, and that I'm giving them the opportunity to walk out that day feeling really successful.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if they're 20 years old or they're 80 years old, and I have every end of the spectrum at the gyms.
Right. Yeah.
And I make sure that I make eye contact with them in the beginning, and then I'm watching them throughout class, and I'm offering what I feel that they need at the time. And I make sure I go talk to them after class and say, how was it? Great job. Can't wait to see you next week. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just really important. And there's something about it where I can come in and I can be tired and be like, oh, coming into this class. And it's a lot more physical. You have to do a lot of the class with them.
Okay.
But
Kind of showing what's going on.
you do need to show some of the poses. I even have this one lady who comes in and she has some coordination issues.
Okay.
And I'm like, good for you for, being here at yoga and giving it your best. So she will put her mat like next to me on the side facing the same direction as me, because she cannot do it when I mirror her.
Okay.
If I'm mirroring her, she will do the side that I'm doing. Like she just can't.
Yeah.
And then she's the opposite of everybody in the room, and everyone's like, and she's like, all these different directions. So, and she falls over a lot if she does that. So she doesn't fall over if she's going. So I just let her do it. Like, I don't even have a conversation with her. I'm just like, if that's what works for you, you go, girl, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But it confuses some of the other people in the class. They're like, which way should my mat be? Should I be up here? Should I be? So, it's just like, it's this whole thing. So the gym is a great place to start, especially if you're a new yoga teacher, to really be able to just get the feel for who you want to be and how you want to teach. And I'm grateful for Baptiste to have like a skeleton class to be able to like draw from.
Yeah.
But one of the things about me as a teacher is I learned early on that I don't ever plan my classes.
Okay.
I literally don't there's zero planning.
Yeah.
I might plan it in the sense of creating a music, a playlist.
Okay.
And having a certain maybe energy from that. But at the gym, I play the same playlist. I don't ever change it. I play the same one because of like the whole music rights and all that kind of stuff. I just have
Guess that makes
the
sense,
one that I play. So just to make it simple. So when I walk into any classroom, whether it's at the gym or at a studio, I get a feel of the energy and what I feel that class needs that day. And then as I begin the class, I go with that energy and I let it take me to wherever that class needs. And so it's going to be different every single time.
Yeah.
There's not going to be one class that's going to be the same. Like Monica was saying the other day about her mala, she's like, there's no two that are alike. And I was like, yep. That's just like my classes. There's no two that are alike. So I get that. But that for me is the club experience.
Nice. It's funny because I teach the opposite way. I have everything planned out when I go into it, and not planned out as far as like everything I'm going to say and every single move I'm going to do, but I have a good idea of the things I want to work on, and that's playing to my own strengths. Like if when I first started teaching, I tried to go in and I'm just going to see what happens. And it would drive me insane. I would get so anxious and be like, shit, I'm not doing what I wanted to do. I forgot these things that I meant to do. And so I started writing down my classes, and now I found a midpoint, where I've been teaching for a while now, so I have an understanding of what I want to get accomplished, but I do kind of plan it out going into it. But then as people start coming in, I'm like, cool, okay, so you're here, you've got that injury, okay, so we can't do that stuff, we're going to modify this, and so I start playing it from there. But going into it, just to appease my own personal anxiety, like I got to have some idea what's going on, or I'm going to go batshit crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting how we all are so different with our personalities, because I'm the opposite. I get anxious if I've created a plan because I'm worried I'm going to forget it.
Yeah, totally.
And so I tried that style of teaching early on, and I actually did some trainings through like Les Mills. I did body flow training, and I did one through Pop Pilates, and that's even like more extreme, where you actually are like memorizing a format, and then they provide the music, so you're having to time it to their music.
And that's tough. When you start trying to time things to music, like I remember when I first started teaching, the teacher that was training me was like, okay, time your ab song. You got to make sure you hit it when your ab song hits. I'm like, are you gonna expect me to? That's like 45 minutes into class, and you want me to time 45 minutes into that and make sure the ab song hits right when I start abs? No, man. So like to that extent, I can't do that. That's too much. That's anxiety ridden to me too.
See, and I yeah, I always time my abs perfectly on the
Good for
song.
you. Good for you. God damn. God damn. Good for you.
And never perfect. That's a joke.
Yeah.
But I will say to the class, I love it when the music totally lands perfectly with right where I was going right
Yep.
here. You know, like it doesn't always, right? But
There you
sometimes
go.
it does, and that's fun. But I do try to put it in at a certain point because I do have, you know, the sequence of what I go through. I tend to have it land at the same place, but then maybe not that
Yeah,
day. So you know, whatever. But
I have an analogy for the teaching styles that I used to tell to my teacher training students and I'd relate it back to hip hop, right? So you have a person like Jay-Z, right? Very, very famous musician. He's fantastic, Grammy winner, blah, 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 that does not write anything down, spits it from the top of his head every time, right? And he remembers all the songs he's ever done. He's a fantastic lyricist, right? Just amazing person, right? Then you have somebody like Chuck D, the front man for Public Enemy, right? Equally as amazing, Grammy-winning artist, has very pivotal in hip hop, but he writes everything down. He will not just spit a flow off the top of his head. He writes everything down very methodically, figures out how he wants to convey his message. Then he goes out there. Again, both very successful MCs in their own right. They're very pivotal in their own right as well, right? Vastly different styles, right? So do what feels right for you, right?
absolutely.
That's the message I get to the students is you feel what's right. You come up to your authentic self. You teach from that authentic place because when you don't, it's very noticeable. So if you need to write things down, if you need to memorize, if you need to just make shit up, whatever it is, do you, right? Get comfortable with
it's the
that.
best advice you can give a new teacher is to figure out what it is that works for you. Like
Yeah.
try both ways and
Yeah.
see which one gives you the anxiety and which one doesn't, you
Yeah,
know?
totally.
Which one makes you feel confident when you walk in and the other one that's like, I can't do this. I have too much stuff in my head. That's for me, it was like I have too much stuff like pre-planned in my head and
Right.
I can't naturally just flow it. And when I did those other trainings, I struggled
Okay.
big time. And I kept saying, I'm a really good yoga teacher. I'm a really good yoga teacher, but I can't do this stuff. I can't do this like like whatever. And oh, it was like just painstaking. And then I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Play
Why
to
am
your
I doing it?
strengths.
It's not my jam.
Exactly.
And there's so many great group fitness instructors out there that is their jam.
Yeah.
So let them do that. And I'm going to go do my random willy-nilly yoga over here.
Yep. And
whatever I'm feeling.
and check all the boxes you need checked.
Exactly.
Hell yeah. Right
Yeah.
on. Very cool.
So that was an awakening in a sense of just not trying to fit a square into a circle
Right. Yeah.
and allow myself to be who I needed to be. So,
Right on. Very cool.
So that's my experience with the fitness club teaching.
Right, right. And while you're exploring your yoga teaching, you're still like 9 to 5 job. You were a paralegal for a while. You were working at a medical facility for a little while too, right? So you were, for a lot of us, the yoga teaching was like, I don't want to call it a side hustle, but it was like a side gig, right? We would have our corporate job or our 9 to 5 or whatever that regular job is, and then teach yoga on the side. So when did that switch and that dichotomy switch from yoga on the side to yoga being your main gig?
For me, it was, kind of a financial thing. Like when I felt that I could figure out a way to make as much money teaching yoga as I was making per se in my other jobs.
Right.
And then taking it to like where that was going to take me to be able to even make it more of a full-time commitment.
Right.
Because, my background is, I have a BA in law and justice, a minor in psychology.
Yeah.
I always thought I would either go to law school or I go get my master's in psychology. And I didn't do either one of those things.
Yeah.
I got married and had kids instead.
There you go, right?
That was okay too.
Which
No
is probably
regrets.
putting both of those degrees to work also in their own ways.
Exactly. So, that's the path that I chose to go down and wondered if I ever would circle back someday.
Okay.
But I did work for many, many years in the legal field and did all different kinds of paralegal work from personal injury to family law. I did family law for a long time.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
thought about being a guardian ad litem at one point, which
Oh,
is like
wow.
a neutral third party who represents the children in these domestic cases.
Wow.
Thought about doing that.
That's hard work.
But you know
Oof.
what? They needed more people. And what held me back at the time is the county that I was working in, you had to be an attorney to be a guardian ad litem. So I would have had to go back to law school
Okay.
in order to be a guardian ad litem. So it's like, it was just like that one step that I wasn't ready to take. But I could see the benefit in like that they needed better people out there who
Right.
were representing these children, because sometimes the parents were absolutely batshit crazy and they would
Yeah.
lose perspective of there's
Right.
children involved here. And so I had the paralegal side. I also dabbled a little bit in criminal law towards the end of my paralegal career, and that was kind of fun and interesting. It pays really well because people will pay to get out of trouble.
That's true. Yes, they will.
So,
Yes, they will.
so as an attorney, I could see why there's a draw to be, and for me, I always thought that if I went to law school, that I would be a prosecutor.
Okay.
I was very much on that side of the spectrum, and it's like you do the crime, you do the time.
Right.
We're going to enforce the laws here, and I was very much a black and white as far as that goes, and then found out that law is not black and white; it's
Yeah.
very much gray. There's a
Yeah.
lot of gray going on. And then working for a criminal law attorney was interesting because that's the other end of the spectrum where you're representing people, trying to get them out of trouble instead of
yeah.
prosecuting them for whatever they may or may not have done. I know innocent till proven guilty.
Right. Right.
Whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. Yep. Totally.
So,
Yeah, it's got to be an interesting kind of like shift in mentality of like, I wanted to do this and now I'm defending. Like, yeah.
I still feel like I'm a little bit more on the prosecution
Okay.
side. I do.
Yeah.
But it was good to have the experience to see both sides of it. And yeah, and I met some really great people along the way, of course, in all of the years as a paralegal, and all of the attorneys that I work for, friends with all of them still. And it's kind of nice to have an attorney in your back pocket in case you
Yes,
need
it is. Most definitely. I got a couple lawyer friends, from attorneys to like copyright lawyers. I'm like, dude, yes,
Yep.
need more of those friends.
And they've been amazing individuals too. So had that whole career in the paralegal, and then what changed? Well, it's not that I changed my mind to not be a paralegal anymore, but what started taking me out of the legal field was because when my husband moved to North Dakota to work and live, and I chose not to go with him to work and live there, I stayed back here with the kids and let them go through the rest of their school, which would be junior high and high school.
Yeah.
I needed to get a job that was closer to home.
Got it.
Because now I'm kind of like single mom, right? So, yes, I have a husband. Yes, they have a father, but he's a few thousand miles away.
Right.
So mom's got to be the one to pick up and do all these things, right?
Right, yeah.
And my kids were involved in sports and all the good stuff.
Very
so,
active kids
So
and-
doing that thing, being the carpool mom or whatever. And so I, at the time, was working at a firm in Bellevue, so I needed to get closer to Bothell. So I took a job with Allstate Insurance
Okay.
and was a total loss adjuster. So I was the person that would tell you what we're going to pay you for your car that is now totaled.
Oh, that's a tough job too. Good Lord.
It was a tough job. And I didn't mind it. And I probably was more on the generous side because just seeing how the system works, knowing how it comes out lowballing you right off the bat, and,
Right.
telling people, if you want to counter with something, like there's some room here,
Yeah.
and there's actually a lot of room. Just FYI for anybody that
good
gets
to
in that
know,
situation.
yes. Good
There's
to
a lot of
know.
room, and in a case like that is never officially closed. You can accept money, and then if you find that you can find more value for the vehicle that they were giving the money for, and you can send that to them, then they can reopen it for you
Really?
too, which is something that they don't tell a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
people
good
unless
to
you ask
know.
that. So yeah, but that one for me was a very strict, rigid corporate type of gig.
Right, yeah.
And that didn't fit with my lifestyle. And so I worked there for about 9 months. And then I left Allstate when I got the job at Spine Institute Northwest.
Okay.
And I was hired as a paralegal to work on their personal injury cases. They have people who come in who had been in a motor vehicle accident, and we would hold their balance over it until they settled their case. So
Okay.
I was the person that would work between the doctors and the attorneys and the patient. And that lasted for about 3 months. And then the manager at the time left.
Okay.
And when she left, she handed me the human resources binder, and I became the manager and human resources manager with
Just,
zero
oh
experience.
gosh, just switching hats, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I came to really enjoy working as a human resources manager.
Good.
I brought a lot of my psychology into that one. Let me
I
tell
can
you.
imagine. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, had the
A lot
background
of
for a
it.
reason.
Yeah, and I learned so much, and I grew a lot. I did a little bit of training, not a lot of training, but a little bit throughout the time. And so it was very natural for me to be like the person that would, at the time, who the owner was, who was the medical director. I would be the in between person where I would deal with the employees, do all the hiring, do all the firing, just all the training,
Yeah,
managing the different departments,
yeah, that's a
all
big,
of the
it's a big gig.
compliance. That was like a big thing
Oh, I
through
can
the
imagine.
Joint Commission and the Department of Health, and I knew nothing about any of that and learned so much over the years, so much. So, but the greatest part about that job is that they were super flexible with my lifestyle and my kids, and I never had to miss anything with my kids. I was able to come and go as I needed. And when I went to my first yoga training and decided I wanted to be a yoga teacher, they worked with me with that.
Oh, that's
So
great.
I went from being a
Wow.
full-time HR manager to hiring a manager that was full-time, became part-time HR, part-time yoga teacher. So I'm circling back to your original question.
Yep.
It's coming.
It's always,
It's
yeah.
getting there. And so I started to do the balancing of, okay, I'm working part-time hours here and I'm taking on this many yoga classes. And then now I'm starting to go into the studios and I'm getting a higher rate of pay. I'm starting to branch out into corporate gigs
Yep.
and just kind of seeing how that feels and making yoga more of a priority.
Yeah.
And then the other job was more still paying the bills.
Okay.
So I did that for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that balance finally shifted towards yoga. And so it was within the COVID times. So the last 18 months is when you opened Lifestyle Wellness Connection?
Right. So my boss at the time, the
Okay.
medical director, he actually was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in July of 2019.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And he passed away in March of 2020.
Oh, man. Sorry to
So
hear
right
that.
when the pandemic hit,
Wow,
yeah.
yeah.
And it was a tough situation with how everything ended up kind of coming to a head with that, because I had gone on a vacation in the last week of February, first week of March.
Okay.
I went on a cruise. We call it the COVID cruise.
COVID cruise. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
And so we leave. We're all excited about our cruise, going to the Bahamas. Woohoo,
Yeah.
it's going to be awesome. And having a great old time doing our thing. And in the meantime, the world is completely unraveling, right? And we have no idea. I
didn't think I knew that about it, yeah.
Yeah, you just don't know what's going on, right? When you're on a cruise ship.
Totally, yeah.
You have some channels, but like who's watching their TV in their room? Like nobody.
Yeah.
Started noticing they were starting to clean the boat like a lot more. They're
Okay.
wiping down a lot of the surfaces. We had to start using the hand sanitizer every time we go in and out of any area.
All right.
We're like, this is new. Huh, okay, wow, this ship's really clean.
Yeah, right.
Now we have no idea what's going on. And then we started seeing little glimpses of it. And then people started talking and we realized what was going on. Well, we didn't know. We still didn't know. But I
Right.
knew that here in Washington was somewhat of an epicenter. And I was like, what's that all about?
Right. Yeah.
And we had gone in and out of New Orleans. So that's where we were heading back to. And there was a point on the cruise where we weren't sure if we were going to be able to come back into the port because they were at that time were turning boats away.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's scary.
So yeah, so it's really unsure, but still not really getting it, not really understanding what was unfolding. And so, we came into New Orleans. We spent a couple days running around there, having a great time. We had come in like right after Mardi Gras, so it was a little bit smelly.
I've been in New Orleans post Mardi Gras. It is definitely smelly.
Yeah, but it's still beautiful. I'd love to go back, explore it a little bit more. And then we flew home, and then things started to unravel, and it was really shocking to me. I just felt really clueless and in the dark. I had a similar experience with 9/11, where we didn't know what was going on because we had just moved,
Okay.
and we didn't have TV set up,
Right.
and we're just
going
unpacking
about
in
your
our
day.
new house,
Yeah.
right? And we go to Home Depot to make blinds and everybody's crying and we're like, what's going on? So I had that same
Wow.
feeling where like coming in, like it's like there's something happening, but I don't know what it is, like
Yeah.
what's going on here, and it's bad.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on is not good, right? So very unsettling. So get home, and I did the next day go teach a yoga class,
Okay.
and then I thought I should maybe tell these studios that I just got off a cruise. I just started feeling like I had this, this, I should be doing this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it an obligation, but maybe that I should do this. So I started contacting them, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, do not come in. Do not teach any yoga. Do not, you need a quarantine. And I'm like, what? And honestly, I took it a little personally at first because I really didn't know what the hell was going on. And
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute. I just got back and I can't teach yoga. What do you mean I have to quarantine? And it was just like all so foreign to me. And I just didn't
Right.
understand what was going on. Then, of course, during that time being home, realizing what was actually happening. And the unfortunate part is that I was never able to see my boss again because
Oh man.
I had left for the cruise,
Right.
had to quarantine, and then by the time that all of that was complete, he passed away.
Oh, that's a bummer. Oh,
So
I'm
that
so
kind of
sorry.
sucked.
Yeah,
That was
definitely.
sad. Not that he was in the best place at that time to be able to see him. So the last time I saw him was in January, actually,
Okay.
of 2020. So when he passed away, that's when I started to realize I had this opportunity to phase that job out
Okay.
because I had been hanging on to that. It was kind of like my bread and butter,
Yeah.
like, have this great little, nice little income coming in here. So just keep writing this out. But I really needed to let it go in order to be able to move forward.
Right.
And I didn't have that, like, I hadn't had the courage to do that yet.
Yeah.
So I realized this was an opportunity. So as the year went on, it was about probably September in the fall that I just realized I had this great opportunity to really explore what I wanted to do. And I had the time that I hadn't had before.
Right.
And I had met a lot of really great people during this time, which I know sounds weird because we were all quarantined, but I made a lot of really great connections with people all over the country.
Yeah.
And some were through Baptiste,
Okay.
some I met through other avenues. And just by collaborating with these people, it gave me this courage and incentive to step out on my own. And
Awesome.
that's where Lifestyle and Wellness Connection was born.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I got there.
I love that. And it's, there's beauty that can come from the tragic, right? And there was a tragic thing that we all went through, this COVID situation, and the people that could find a way to find some positivity from those situations, right? Let's thrive on that, right? There's definitely some negative things that happen, and we definitely need to address those things. But I think the time thing is one of the biggest benefits that a lot of us have had with COVID, because we get so caught up in our jobs and our lives and our things that we forget how to live. We're just living day to day, go to work, come home, take care of the kids, whatever it is. But that monotony just becomes the life, and then we're forced to slow down. You can look at what's working, what's not. Why am I this anxious? Why am I this depressed? Let's figure this out. Right.
Right. There were so many things that I did for the first time during the pandemic that I'd never done before. I posted a yoga class on Facebook. It was
Okay.
like a 30-minute class.
Yeah.
And I like threw up this shower curtain thing to like block the mess behind me. Like it was this whole like just hilarious experience. But did it, put it out there,
Hell
and
yeah.
told myself, I'm not going to watch it.
Okay.
I'm just going to put it out there, and whatever it is, it is. Because if it helps one person, if one person takes my class and gets something from that they needed during what's going on, it helped them, then that's the only reason that I'm doing it, is to put it out there for that access.
Hell yeah.
So I put it out, and to this day, I've never watched it.
Okay.
I started watching the beginning. I was like, oh, no, I can't do, no. I'm going to like be so critical of myself. There's no way. I would have like probably chickened out.
Yeah.
So I just posted.
go.
There it is. I still haven't done a lot of like the Instagram live type of things, but I did do some Facebook live classes for
Cool.
different studios. So that was first.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Zoom. I'd never done
Oh,
Zoom
yeah.
before.
Oh, the Zoom.
And here we
Yes.
are zooming away with everything.
Yes,
and
we are.
for the whole year, so much Zoom. I think that company really profited from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pandemic.
And
There's like,
not to bash Zoom, but it's a questionable product, Like Skype's been doing this for years, and where the fuck's Skype at? Skype
yeah,
got bastardized, and now there's this new product, which, Zoom's doing the best they can, but man, I don't think they were ready for everybody in the world to adopt Zoom as a platform.
no. And they could do so much more, right? That's what I'm
Totally.
seeing.
Yeah.
And hopefully maybe they'll go in that direction. But yeah, so I'd never done Zoom before. I remember the first time, like I couldn't even hardly get onto it. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Uh-huh.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
trying to invite people. I'm like, how do you do this? Like it was like I felt so like I was pretty techie just in general. Like
Right.
then I didn't feel techie at all.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God,
Like, I
I'm
don't
so
know
not
shit.
techie. I don't have any freaking idea what I'm doing here. Like, oh my God, is this what life's gonna be?
Right.
So yeah,
Oh my
there's a lot of
gosh.
learning for
Yes.
that kind of stuff. And just realizing that you could create an online presence and an online platform that you can still make available and you can still connect with people. Because remember, for me, it's about community and connection, right?
Yep.
So how can I create this online platform that cultivates community and connection? And that was my vision, and that's where I started. And it was very broad, and I had ideas of how I wanted the website to look, and I had ideas of what kind of content I wanted on there, but I really didn't know how I was going to put that on there. And I tried to start building a website on my own,
Okay.
and I was not successful.
I'm right. I'm there with you right now. I'm trying to do it on my own, and it's just I'm bashing my head against the wall.
Well, there's this girl we both know called Bree that can help you with that.
Oh, good
Bree's
to
the one who built
know.
my website out,
Okay.
and she has experience. And if you ever go to watch her as my feature business, which she'll be on coming
Yes.
up, her background's super interesting of how she got there too. So
Cool.
anyway, so I sought help with one of the connections,
Mm-hmm.
the people that I had collaborated with and met during the pandemic. And she was amazing and was able to take my vision and my ideas and help me narrow it down, get it on there. Part of what I agreed when I hired her was that she would also train me on it so that I could do it myself.
Good for you. There
So
you
we
go.
did that.
Cool.
So I am the one that is doing everything now, and it's a little behind, but I'm getting there.
Uh-huh.
We're getting things updated on it. But I was like, it's great to have help, but I need to be able to know how to do this myself.
Definitely. Yeah.
So put it out there, and I'm going to say my favorite part of my lifestyle wellness connection business right now is my featured business section, and it doesn't create any kind of income
Okay.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But it's huge connection and community for me, and
Yeah.
I am loving it. It's very similar to what we're doing now,
Totally.
just in a little bit different platform. I do use the Zoom for that right now, but just being able to feature and highlight people, and for me, it's not just about supporting women. It is supporting women, but it's supporting men too. Like
Yeah.
I want to
I'm
have
one of the features on there
Yes, you
in
are.
the near future. Yeah,
You're
we've had our interview.
coming up soon. And so I love the idea of letting people know what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And so then, they can decide if they want to seek you out for different services. You don't know till you know.
Exactly. Yes.
So let's be all about educating one another and supporting one another and building each other up.
Yep.
I'm tired of being in, not that I was in, but so often in life we're in these spaces where people are jealous, or they're trying to get above somebody else in
Right.
something because they're trying to climb that corporate ladder,
Right.
or they're just competitive. And there's a lot of competition in the yoga world,
Yes.
whether people want to admit it or not.
There is.
It's
most
out there.
definitely. Yep.
I know for me, I was very rose-colored glasses when I first came into the yoga
Yep.
world, and for the teacher training specifically. And I was like, I think I even posted, I have to look back at my post if I could find it. I think I even posted something along the lines of, yoga people are like the nicest, best people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, who are these people? Where have they been?
Yeah.
And oh my God, I found my people. This is so amazing. That was short-lived, but that's okay. I had it for a while, and I loved it when I was in that space.
Yep. Yep.
And then had a few experiences and went, But again, we're all just people. We're all just humans.
Exactly.
And we're all going to
Exactly.
have our ugly side,
Hmm.
and we're all going to have our amazing, beautiful side, and everything in between.
Definitely.
It's just who we are.
It
It's
is.
okay.
It's a human experience. You
Yep.
got to have them. And I appreciate you talking from a place of abundance, because when we have that scarcity mentality that only mine, I don't want to have to share this with others. You're creating your own discomfort, right? When we can say hey, everybody's gonna do everything, it's that infinite game, right? When everybody can win at a game, everybody can play the game. We all know the rules. We can all continue to play. Then nobody loses. There's no finite. There's no end to that. Everybody continues to win in their own right, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about supporting one another.
It is. It really is. And that's when we can find that place in our heart to come from abundance, everything starts to just make sense. It all just starts to fall into place.
It does. I always tell my boys, if you're doing something and it makes you feel good, you're probably on the right path. If you're doing something and it doesn't make you feel good, you probably need to rethink that path.
There you go. That's great mom advice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Gosh. So with Lifestyle Wellness Connection, where is that taking you now?
So, there's lots of things on there.
Uh-huh.
One of which is my health and wellness coaching that
Yeah.
I'm actually going to school for right now. I'll be graduating in August, and I am loving every minute of this.
Beautiful.
It really connects with the bigger picture of Lifestyle Wellness Connection, and even my yoga teaching and all my background of everything that I've done.
Psychology,
It's
like
yes,
everything's coalescing again.
all coming together.
Awesome.
Yes. And I've started seeing some clients, so I'm getting,
Beautiful.
some experiences with that. So if anyone's interested, I'm giving a discount for people until I graduate.
There you go.
I'll do a little shameless plug there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but really enjoying it and seeing how it lights me up in different ways as well. Also, I have on there like my private yoga teaching, my corporate wellness program that I'm offering, and of course my workshops and my retreats. And
Yes.
what surfaces to the top there is the retreats that I've recently started putting together. So I've always liked the idea of like throwing a party.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I feel like looking back in the past, I've been good at that in my life. I've always been able to put things together, whether it's a surprise party for somebody or a baby shower, a wedding shower, whatever it is. And I like the attention to detail and also the making people feel really special.
Yeah.
Adding those little extra things so that it's like the full meal deal experience. Like you're coming out going, wow, I really felt loved and cared for and seen and heard and all of those things.
Yeah.
So I've talked to a couple different people here and there about collaborating, doing different types of retreats. I kind of was looking bigger at first, like doing like a destination type of thing. And then the pandemic, came around. Here we are again, right?
Yep.
And I started thinking, I need to do something local.
Yeah.
I need to do something that's accessible. People don't have to get on a plane because at the time flying
Right,
was,
yeah.
sketchy. And so I started thinking about things that we could do. And you have to start way ahead of time with these things because everything gets booked up.
Right.
So I researched, different places in this area and found this great location. And before I took the jump to say, okay, I'm going to reserve this and sign this contract, and I'm going to pay you a lot of money to
Right.
rent this place,
Yeah.
money that I don't necessarily have. I put it out there on social media and I said, hey, is anybody interested in possibly attending a retreat? I didn't really even know what that looked like yet, but I just was like a yoga retreat, a wellness retreat, whatever.
Yeah.
Got a huge response to that. So I'm like, okay, this is the right timing. This is the timing. This is what we need to do. So I went ahead and reserved it for the May retreat. But I had so many people that were interested in May that I made the decision to also book the same one in June.
Right. Yep. Yep.
So in retrospect, I think the one was probably enough.
Okay.
And I like the idea of doing like a spring and like a fall type of thing. But don't regret doing the two because they were both amazing, but different in their own ways. And I
Right.
learned so much from both of them. So, but yeah, putting it out there, having the people come. The first retreat was more, I would say, people I knew in one way or another, whether it was a student from a studio that I taught at, or it could have been a friend that I've had for many, many years, acquaintances, but all people I knew in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
there was a connection there. And then they all came together and they connected, and it was really fun. And of
Awesome.
course, had people like you come up
Oh
and
yeah, I was
provide different services,
happy to
and
be a part of that.
it was so great. And then the second one was people that didn't know each other at all. And I remember thinking, how is this going to go? You
Yeah.
know, because the other one was a little more familiar, right? Because I knew those people, maybe a little more forgiving in a way. Maybe I thought, like, you know, they're going to be a little easier on me
Yeah.
because, you know, they know me. But these people, they're paying to come here and they don't know me. So this better be what they want it to
Yep.
be, right?
Uh-huh.
But again, just an amazing experience. And I have loved it so much. And, you know, a lot of people will say, it's so much work and you got to do this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't feel like I'm working when I'm doing it. I'm having so much fun. Even when I have to go to Costco and buy all this food and
Right.
figure all that out, like I'm having fun figuring that out. Like
Yeah.
every aspect of it, I enjoy immensely. So it's definitely something I want to continue to do through Lifestyle and Wellness Connection. And I do want to do a destination.
So definitely throw the destination in there.
Yes, probably be 2022 at this point. So
Do you have an idea of where you want that destination to be? Or maybe
somewhere warm,
yes, thank you.
tropical,
Perfect.
where we
Yes.
can put our toes in the sand.
Beautiful. Sign me up.
That's what I'm thinking. And I have a few people who want to collaborate, and that'd be great. But you know, the way I see it, I'm always open to collaborating with somebody. I'm always open to, you know, sharing the experience. But if people don't want to do that, I can do it myself, and it's okay. It'll work. I'll
you
make
go.
it work, you know. So either way, whatever ends up coming of it, I'll let you know. But that's where I'm heading with the retreats.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And okay, so and I'm excited. I mean, I was lucky enough to be a part of both of your retreats you've done so far. Thank you so much for that. Practicing Reiki, doing sound baths, got to meet, you know, what is it, 17 beautiful people and work on 17 beautiful people and then give them sound baths. It was such a cool experience. And again, you know, like you said, you know, I was lucky enough to know some of them as well between the yoga communities that I'm part of. So, you know, it's really nice to be able to work on people you know, and then also meet people that you have never met before. And you probably would not have met if it wasn't for this beautiful retreat that you put together. You know, and then you meet those people in those positions that are there because they want to share in some kind of way. They're there because they want to find their vulnerability or whatever they're there for. But it creates these beautiful opportunities for openness and for sharing and for human connection that, you know, again, like when we get caught up in our lives, we kind of forget about that stuff, you know? So when you can shut all that stuff down, not worry about your job, put your phone away for a little bit and look at somebody in the eyes for once, have a conversation about whatever the hell you want to talk about, that's when cool shit happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can't plan these things out. I mean, I plan them out, but I can't plan the end result out.
Right. Right.
It just happens organically,
Yes.
which is beautiful in and of itself. And I really try to create that environment for that to be able to happen. So
Yeah. You know, I
it's
talked
been pretty
to,
wild.
you know, you create the environment for happiness to be had, but you can't force the happiness.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with our kids, right? We can create the environment of happiness for our kids. We can't shove it down their throats, right? But when you have that many humans that are there for their healing journeys and for that exploration of themselves, cool shit's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and then, this is one of the things that I've been waiting to talk to you about, you know, and this isn't going to break on this podcast, but, you know, I'll let you share it. You know, the next big step for you right now that's coming down your pipeline. What is that one for us?
I would love to share. So, as you know, everything we've been talking about, everything that I've been doing has been leading me to a place. And I didn't know what that was going to be, but I knew there was something, as we say a lot in our, you know, our experience as yoga teachers, the journey, right? It's
Yep.
the journey we're on. And where's that journey going to take us? And I always knew that at some point in time, I would probably own a yoga studio. It was something that I thought might be a little later in life. Maybe we would move to a different place because our kids live out of state. Maybe we move closer to them and I would do something there. But I always knew that for me was kind of the next step. And I was very fortunate during the pandemic again to be approached to purchase a local yoga studio. And that studio is B1 Yoga in Kirkland. Yay!
So exciting. So exciting. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's such a cool opportunity for you. As a person that practices there, as a teacher that teaches there, I used to manage there. I mean, I've had B1's been a big part of my heart in yoga for a long time. And to know that it's transitioning into your hands, into another fellow yoga teacher, community-based person that wants to grow the business in a beautiful way. God, I'm so excited to see what happens next, you
Well,
know?
thank you for that. And I am equally as excited. I feel like in a lot of ways this opportunity fell into my lap.
Hmm.
I wasn't necessarily seeking it, but the timing was really amazing.
Yeah.
And just just even now with it's that feeling of coming out of something and then going towards something.
Hmm.
So like certain doors are shutting, which needs to happen in life.
Yep.
And I'm a very loyal, dedicated person in any venture that I ever get myself into. So it's hard for me to shut doors. I keep them
Right.
open a really long
Okay.
time
Yeah.
when I need to probably shut them at some point.
Hmm.
But it's okay. Like everything's meant to be what it's meant to be. So even as this opportunity came to me, I always had the mindset that if it is meant to be, it will be.
Hmm.
And I'm going to be okay either way.
Right.
I've already got this great thing going here with Lifestyle Wellness Connection, and I'm enjoying seeing where that's going and being involved in that and that journey where it's taking me. If this yoga studio works out as well, then I could see how they could come together, and they are. It's all coming together, and
Definitely.
it's so unbelievable that I literally want to pinch myself sometimes and say, "Is this really happening?" But I'm just excited to really be a part of specifically the B1 yoga community. I've been here a few years now,
Hmm.
and I love everything Elena has done. She's done an incredible job.
Definitely.
I know it's her baby, and I wish her well in her new endeavor. She's going to, be able to move on and be able to pursue other things that she wants to do.
Definitely.
But know that she herself created this amazing community, and she kept things afloat during the pandemic. I
Yep.
couldn't be more grateful for how she has handled everything. She's a great businesswoman. She's an amazing human being,
Yeah.
and so I feel really, really fortunate to come into this situation and have her support as well. And so the transition's happening, as
Hmm.
you know, and probably by the time that this comes out,
Yes.
it will be announced publicly.
Yeah, we're not going to spoiler alert
No,
anything.
no, we don't want to do that because we do want our community to feel like the transition is smooth and, as I said, supported.
Hmm.
And there's not going to be big change.
Yeah.
You know me. The students already know who I am.
Yeah.
It's just taking that business side on, and I feel like my years of experience with everything that I've done up to this point have brought me to this place. I feel good about it.
Hmm.
I've owned my own businesses before,
Right.
and I love yoga. I
Yeah.
love everything to do with the community of it, and what a better way to now have a physical location for everything that I've been doing for my manifestation of the dreams of
Yeah.
where I've arrived, right? Here we
Yes.
go. Now I have a physical location to be able to bring things there too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just when I heard, and I've known your path for a while now. We've been friends for a little while, and when I heard that B1 was that next step for you, it's like, of course it is. Of course it is. That makes so much sense for you to have that brick and mortar, and for it to be that studio. It's such a beautiful fit, and I think that you're gonna continue the direction and the momentum, I guess, the momentum that studio has with the community, and then being able to put your beautiful spin on it, lifestyle wellness connection, your coaching that you're doing, the retreats that you're bringing in, that place that you can find that one place to market from now, and you have that central point, you can start seeing clients there. I mean, it does make a lot of sense. That it's just like, oh yeah, okay, perfect, yeah, that makes sense.
It's really a dream come true.
Yeah. And you said you manifested, so you're a manifester. This is something that you were like, okay, this is a direction I'm moving towards. Putting it out there, universe. I'm gonna do the work. I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to show up and be that human being. There you go. The universe is gonna give it back to you.
So we go back to my yoga training, and one of the things that we do is similar to that, and we drew a picture,
Okay.
and this was part of manifesting where we wanted to go and what we thought we wanted to do with the experiences that we were having through this training. So it could be something as little as I'm going to actually go teach a class if it's like at the beginning stages, or it could be I'm
Own
going
a
to own a
studio.
studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a couple things. I won't share all of them because they're still in the process of coming to fruition.
There you go. Yeah. Still in the manifestation
Yes,
process. Yep. Totally.
exactly. But one of them was that owning my own studio, and I had details in my description of what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I had an idea of what I thought it would look like, and here we are, and it's B1. And
Fantastic.
it's like, wow, what a trip that is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I really believe in the manifestation of your dreams, and just recently did like a vision workshop where we did vision boards.
Yeah.
And
It was very well received.
yeah, that
Definitely.
was really fun. And
Yeah.
so, just letting people know that we can decide the direction that we're going without even knowing what we're doing, if that makes sense.
I love that statement. That is such a beautiful statement. Yeah, because we don't need to know all the details and to get to the process. Just put it out there. Say, okay, so I'm at point A, there's point B over there. I'll figure out how to get there, but let me just make point B my goal.
Yeah.
Right. And then things just start falling into place, right?
Yeah.
And and I appreciate the work that you're doing, right? Because a lot of times we manifest in a wrong way where we just put it out there, but we're not willing to do the work to follow it up and just be like, the universe is going to, I just trust the universe. It's going to do it. No. Okay. Yeah. The universe hears you, but they also see you. And if the universe doesn't see you put in the work, it's not going to do the work back for you. Right. You got to put that work in, show that the effort's being made, put one foot in front of the other, take the classes, do the meditate, whatever it is for you. Then the universe will start to fall back on you and start to help you out.
I love that. And I think for me it was letting go of and shedding the things that I needed to in order to create space
Yeah.
for what lies ahead of me. And I say that so much in class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Tracy, it's time to start doing what you're telling everybody else to do. All right. I mean, how many times a week have you made this statement, So, take a deep breath in, creating space, opening up, and then be open to the possibility of what's here for you in this class today or whatever it is going to be. And then it's like, oh wait, I should probably be doing that too.
Yep.
So, and for me that that meant letting go of some of the things in the past that I had been a part of and doing for so long and committed to and loyal to, and it was okay. Like I came to a place where it's like it's okay.
Yeah.
I've put in my time there, and I can let go of it. Some of these studios that I'd been at for so long, and my heart will always be at
Right.
those studios. And the great thing I'm finding is that it's a pretty small yoga community, and the owners of the studios that I'm familiar with are all very supportive.
Cool.
And so I feel like there's even more there that's possible in the future with some other ideas that I have.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes.
That's awesome. Yeah, and because this is as we're recording this is still hush hush. It's between teachers and people that need to know. But the few people that do know that we've had a chance to talk to are very excited as well. From the teachers that we know or the people that have just gotten the information leaked. It's like, hey, we hear this is happening. That's fucking dope. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty damn cool, man. It's going to be some good stuff. So, and again, much love and respect to Elena for building this community and getting this concept to where it needs to be, saving many, many lives on the way. Mine is definitely one of those persons. She saved my life in a very special way, providing this community and this yoga experience for us. And so that is not lost. You are very loved, Elena, and we very much respect you for what you've done. Love the B1 community, and you'll always be remembered in there. But very happy to see you pursuing your dreams and your careers as Elena, and now Tracy continuing to pursue her dreams and careers in this next step in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was beautiful what you said about Elena. That was really nice.
She's, Elena's a beautiful friend. She's just been a part of our lives for a number of years. And it's funny, we were talking about your first class that you taught. So the very first class that I taught was at B1.
Oh.
And so it was supposed to be a mock class. Now, Elena, so it was a Sunday. Gosh, I think it was like 3:00, and I was going to have my mock class, and then from there we're going to figure out a time for me to teach. I'm like, cool, all right. So I had everything in my head planned. 3:00 on Sunday. Elena calls me at let's say maybe noon, and she goes, "Hey, how do you just feel about teaching the 4:00 public class? That's the class I usually teach. I'll be in there. So if anything goes sideways," but she's like, you've been teaching for or taking for a while. I'm confident in where you're at. I think you'll be fine. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll teach a public class. That's yeah, totally fine. And so I hung up the phone and I called Zach, I called Timmery, I called all these people that have helped me in my yoga career up to that point, whether it was my teaching career or my taking, right? Just getting me ready to teach. And so I called them all up and I'm like, I need you to be in my class tonight. I need people that just hold space for me. Please be in my class. And they all showed up. I had like 5 or 6 people show up. And basically I taught from their mats because I was just like, I need to be around people. But that was my first class. I taught to a public class at 4:00, and it terrified the shit out of me. But it was that thing that I needed. And down deep, I think Elena knew that. She's like, well, if you him and ha about this shit, you're going to not do it. But hey, here you go. Baptism by fire. Get out there, make me proud. And so, yeah, that's that beautiful stuff. And so I've got a very, very big place in my heart for Elena and for B1 and for that community in general. So, yeah, seeing it transition into very capable and amazing hands that are going to continue that vision in your own beautiful way. Can't beat that.
Thank you so
Natural
much.
progression.
It's exciting.
Hell yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
for
Well,
sure.
so what's so so I know we're doing the B1 thing next. You got lifestyle wellness connection that's coalescing with all this stuff, this big actualization moments for you. So are you good just kind of ride this and see what happens for here and then see what's going on next?
I think it's enough.
You don't want to pile something else on there?
There's nothing else that I feel like it's enough right now. And I feel really good because I can give it my full attention.
Yeah.
Like I've taken care of things that needed to be taken care of so that I can have that full focus. And so we'll see where it goes.
We will, most definitely. Well, I think that's a great place to end. You've got a beautiful vision in front of you. You've got a beautiful past behind you. I'm excited to get you back on in maybe a year or so and see where B1's landing, see where Lifestyle Wellness Connection's going. Maybe start booking my own retreat, my own spot on your retreat down in the tropics. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me on today. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time, love. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for Tracy for being with us and sharing her journey. We'll leave links in the show notes for anything that you would like to explore deeper. But as always, creating that community. So if you like the podcast, please hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, get the conversations out there. And if you would like to be a guest, hit me up. Hit me up on social media or through my email in the links. All right. We'll see you next time. Obeisance to you all.